This is Stephanie Lee Jackson of Practical Sanctuary, and today's topic was neurodiversity and design. She is the owner and founder of Practical Sanctuary, which is a sensory interior design company. And she works with highly sensitive people and neurodiverse families, create inclusive spaces which promote productivity and healing. She is also a licensed massage therapist, professor of anatomy and physiology, and a professional fine artist. And she uses all of these different skills to help people heal. It's through the combination of art and healing that she brings her expertise to you and your family and your space to make it more functional.
A neurodiverse person is going to process sensory information differently. They are going to integrate information differently in terms of how they process and then respond. There may be a difference in what they're focused on. They may have a difficulty tracking, and they may have abilities. Here we get to the superpowers. Because their brain is wired differently from the average, what we call the average is neurotypical, they have areas where they're using their brain to process information in ways which the majority of us are not able to do. So essentially, the real estate in your brain is being apportioned differently. And that can cause some struggle, but it can also give you some amazing abilities. And that is what I work to support. I work to mitigate the issues so that you can set those amazing abilities free.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible. And for those that just missed this, we're talking about what is neurodiversity. This is being recorded, so we will definitely make sure that we share this very important information. Now, how does neurodiversity give you superpowers?
It does, because your brain is focusing on things that the average brain might be automatically filtering out. Your brain is not a tool which directly contacts you with reality. It's a survival machine. So your brain is taking in tons and tons of information, but if it brought all of that information to your conscious awareness, you couldn't function. Your brain is editing out about 99% of what is around you, and the image that you see in your brain when you're like out in the world perceiving is engineered for you to survive, not for you to actually take everything in. So because a neurodiverse person's brain is wired differently, they are filtering information differently, which can make it hard to function in this very complicated society we have. But also they are able to pay attention to certain huge chunks of information that the average person is editing out of their awareness. And thus, a neurodiverse person is capable of looking at things in a different perspective, which may be able to solve huge and potentially catastrophic problems that are coming up because we have such a complex society and we are altering our environment so profoundly. And every neurodiverse person is different. I have known neurodiverse people who could visualize space in 3 dimensions in their brain better than anyone else ever did. I have known neurodiverse hackers, artists, designers, and they're using that extra real estate in their brain to create things and see things differently and solve problems that the average person is not using their brain in a way that can even perceive those things.
Wow, that's really, really fascinating. And a different way of looking at this.
Yes.
And definitely a superpower for sure.
Yes.
So how does the interior space of a room, and let's just say your home or your workplace, or I guess really anywhere, affect your sensory system for good or for bad?
Well, we tend to assume that the way we are sensing reality is the same as the way everybody else is sensing reality. So we tend to take our situation entirely for granted, that if that screeching noise is making you really tense and stressed, and that it must be affecting everyone else that way. And because no one has stopped it, that just must be how things are. And we tend to automatically kind of grit our teeth and go through it. And we expect other people to grit their teeth and go through it too. So we don't take those things out of our surroundings. We basically take our environment for granted. But because we are actually all wired a little bit differently, we are all perceiving things a little bit differently, and our sensory system is sensitive to different things. Different things bother us. We're aware of more or fewer things. If you are highly sensitive or neurodiverse in a way that you have some sensory processing issues, things in your surroundings are going to be bothering you to the extent that you are using a huge amount of your brain power to edit that out. And thus you have less brain power to function, do what you are supposed to do. So if there are factors in your environment which are really annoying to your sensory system, those spaces are not going to be functionally accessible to you. You can't actually work in that space. Some people, their auditory system cannot track a single conversation if there's a lot of chaotic ambient noise around them. And so you go to have a business meeting in a cafe where it's bang, 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 crash, 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 literally cannot understand what the other person is saying. That cafe is not functionally accessible to you. And that can be true for all kinds of things. Visual chaos, piles of stuff on the floor next to you can be so distracting that your brain's like, and you're not able to focus. Smells. Walking in, yes, smells trigger your memory and your emotions. The smell, the olfactory center in your brain is right next to your emotional memory. And so a smell can trigger this whole wave of major sort of enveloping emotions and memories that can really be distracting or can be inspiring. And that's where we get to the way you can tune your surroundings to support your genius as opposed to draining you. And that is what I do in my business.
That is absolutely incredible. So let's talk about that. How do you work with your clients to create more sensory friendly spaces?
Well, the first thing I do is sit down with the client and take them through a battery of exercises and questions, because everybody is different. And because we tend to assume that we're the same as everyone else, it doesn't even occur to us to mention these things a lot of times. So I take my clients, I spend a couple hours with them finding out how they process sensory input, emotional input, how they function, and how their families do too. I work with some families who have children who may be neurodiverse and may be struggling with emotional regulation and focus and productivity. And because all people are different, we need to get accurate information about how all people in this space are processing sensory input. Only then can we know how the space needs to be set up so that everybody in there is comfortable. Because a lot of times when people, and particularly younger children, have problems with focus and emotional regulation, it is seen and treated as a behavioral problem, when in fact, it's a sensory problem. Because if I'm shouting at you all the time, that's going to be upsetting to you and you're going to react to it. And if this child's environment is shouting at them all the time, they're going to get angry. And it's not that they have an anger problem, it's that their space has a shouting problem. So I try to find those things that are causing or could be contributing to some struggles that the entire family is having. And then we map out a plan to correct what we can correct and support the superpowers that everyone has. It is a process. It takes a while. First of all, because people are busy, they don't have a lot of time or bandwidth to be messing with their space. And also because it's a trial and error. It's try something, see how you feel, see how that works, assess, and then go back and try another thing, change another thing, keep getting more information, keep assessing what's working, what isn't working, what needs to be changed. And over time, we're able to create a whole space that is working for everyone who is living there.
That's amazing. So it helps the whole family like really become more functional and efficient.
Yes. And it's functional and efficient on so many levels. It's like who is doing what in what place? What are the characteristics of that place? Is that space supporting what you're doing there, or is it draining you? How are the family's relationships working? Where are their points of conflict, and where can we create a structural boundary where that conflict just goes away? Because the structure is giving everyone what they need. And so you're not, if one person is sensitive to noise and the other person is sensitive to light, you can put sound buffers and organize the lighting so that the person sensitive to sound has what they need, and the light sensitive person has what they need.
That is awesome.
Conflict about colors or styles, we give people their dedicated areas, and we make a plan that gives everyone the focus that they need, finds out what's valuable to each person, make sure that is honored, and that it all works together in a way that's as harmonious as possible.
Yes, it's like what each person's love language, almost like.
Yes, indeed, it is like that.
So what can you offer our listeners to get started with your process?
Well, on my website, practicalsanctuary.com, you can sign up to download a sensory cheat sheet, which is your first line of, if you are highly sensitive, here are ways to deal with sensory sensitivities in each sense. And you can take my e-course called The Eccentric Genius Habitat Intervention, which will be a book soon. It's in beta form.
Yay.
You can go through the e-course. It will help you take you through exercises to get you to understand your own sensory processing and what works for you, what doesn't work for you, things you might not have considered. It's fun, it's easy, it's 1 email a day for 8 days, which will take you on a journey to where once you've gone through it, you have a clearer idea of where your pain points are. And then you can book a consultation with me if you would like, and we can talk about what's going on with your sensory system and your family's health and all of those things, because all of those things are relevant to the way your space is going to be set up. And most interior designers are interested in selling you a lot of furniture at a markup, and that is not my business model. I'm interested in helping you repurpose and tune what you have so that it's working better. And we don't even look at adding or buying things until we have figured out how to optimize what you have already.
That's awesome. That's incredible. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions after this. So is the best place to reach you is through your website?
Yes, indeed. Practicalsanctuary.com. You can find links there to my Facebook page, my Instagram. You can message me directly on Facebook through my page. Or just go to my website, sign up, and you can email me from there as well.
All right, that's fantastic. I just want to thank you so much, Stephanie, for being here today. Again, I could not hide you from the world or keep you a secret, because you really do offer so much to families. So thank you for being here and shedding light on what you offer families. I
Thank
really
you so much,
appreciate it.
Joanna. It's been a privilege, and I look forward to continuing to work with you because I really admire what you do. There's a huge need for special needs families to have someone helping them plan for the financial future. That's
Thank you.
enormous.
It's certainly my passion. It's certainly
yes, I really appreciate connecting with you, and I'm giving your information to everyone I know.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Stephanie. And I hope that families reach out to you and engage in your services.
Thank you, Joanna.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.